Death is one of humanity's greatest mysteries, and it is natural for those who have lost a loved one to wonder, where do their souls go? Do they see us? Do they feel our presence when we visit their graves? For many, the cemetery is a place of reflection, a space where the connection with those who have passed can be reaffirmed. But does the soul of a deceased person remain bound to the place where their body was buried, or does its presence transcend the physical limits of this world? The doubt about the fate of souls after death has always been present in humanity. Some cultures believe that spirits continue to wander among the living, while others maintain that there is a defined path for each one after leaving this world. Whatever the belief, one thing is certain: the love and connection we have with those who have gone do not disappear with death. But does this connection need to be cultivated? Is visiting a cemetery really necessary to maintain that bond? In this video, we will explore these questions and unveil the true meaning behind visiting the graves of our loved ones. After all, what happens when a soul leaves the body? How can this connection be maintained? Do our loved ones watch over us, regardless of where we are? These are questions that many carry with them, and today we will bring some answers that may change your view on death and spirituality. If you have ever asked yourself these questions, if you have lost someone special and feel the desire to understand more about the journey of the soul after death, then keep watching. Subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and stay until the end, as the answers may transform the way you deal with grief and longing. The experience of loss is universal, but each person deals with it differently. For some, visiting a cemetery brings comfort, a feeling of closeness to the one who has left. For others, this ritual can be painful and distressing, bringing to the surface difficult memories. But is the soul of a deceased person really there? Or is this merely a way we have found to honor their memories? Many religious traditions emphasize the importance of respecting the place where bodies were buried. In some cultures, there are specific rituals to ensure that the soul rests in peace, while others emphasize that the spirit follows its own path, regardless of what happens to the physical body. What all these beliefs have in common is the understanding that death is not the end of existence, but rather a transition to another form of life. The soul, upon detaching from the body, continues its journey. Where it goes depends on each person's beliefs. Some religions speak of reincarnation, while others believe in a final judgment where the soul receives its eternal destiny. But the common thread among all these ideas is that the spirit is not confined to the grave. The body returns to the earth, but consciousness moves on. Many people report feeling the presence of their loved ones even far from the cemetery, sometimes in a dream, other times through subtle signs, such as butterflies, birds, or even objects that appear unexpectedly. These experiences suggest that the spiritual connection does not depend on a specific place, but rather on the energy and love that continue to unite us with those who have passed. However, visiting the cemetery may play an important role for those left behind. For many, standing before a grave brings a feeling of closeness, a chance to express emotions, ask for forgiveness, or simply recall special moments. The act of bringing flowers, lighting candles, or simply sitting in silence can be comforting for those who miss their loved ones. But does that mean that those who do not visit their loved ones are wrong? The answer is no. The connection with those who have passed does not depend on the place where their bodies were buried, but rather on the feelings and memories we carry. If you find it difficult to visit a cemetery, that does not mean you love those who have gone any less. What matters most is not where we express our affection, but the sincerity of the feelings we nurture in our hearts. There are cases of people who report feeling the presence of a loved one intensely, even without going to the cemetery. Some perceive clear signs, such as a song playing at the right moment, a familiar scent that appears out of nowhere, or even the sensation of an invisible embrace. These manifestations show that the soul is not confined to the grave, but lives on in the bond that remains in the hearts of those who love. Furthermore, it is important to remember that each person deals with grief in their own way. Some find comfort in prayer, others in happy memories, while some prefer to perform symbolic rituals to keep the memory of those who have passed alive. The most important thing is to find a way to honor the memory of your loved ones that makes sense to you. Even so, many people feel guilty for not visiting graves regularly. Society often imposes this obligation, making those who do not go to the cemetery feel negligent or insensitive. But is this feeling necessary? The love we feel for our loved ones is not measured by the frequency with which we visit their graves, but by the way we carry them within us. The soul of those who have passed does not require obligatory rituals to feel our affection. It feels our love in the small gestures of everyday life, in the memories, in the longing that accompanies us, and in the thoughts we dedicate to them. What matters is keeping this connection alive, regardless of where we are. Whether through a prayer, a mental conversation, or even a simple recollection, what truly matters is the sincerity of our affection. The cemetery may be a place of comfort for some, but it is not the only means to keep the memory of those we love alive. At this moment, many may be wondering, what if I don't feel anything? What if I cannot perceive signs or spiritual manifestations? Does that mean my loved one is not near? The answer is simple: no. The absence of signs does not mean the absence of presence. Each soul has its own way of manifesting, and often they simply accompany us in silence without directly interfering. The most important thing is to understand that the connection between the living and the dead transcends time and space. The love we share in this life does not disappear with death. It continues to exist in ways that often go beyond our understanding. Longing is proof that the bond remains, that the history we built with those who have passed will never be erased. Now that we have reached this point, we want to know, have you ever had an experience that made you feel the presence of a loved one who has passed? Do you believe that the soul of the deceased can see us and accompany us? Share your stories in the comments because we want to hear them. If this content resonated with you and helped you in some way, subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and share this video with others who might be seeking comfort and answers. Remember, death is not an end, but a transition. Those we love never completely leave us. They live in our memories, in our hearts, and often in the subtle signs that remind us that love is eternal. Many people, when dealing with the loss of a loved one, seek answers about the possibility of maintaining some kind of connection with those who have passed. Doubts are natural. Do they watch over us? Do they feel our presence? What really happens to the soul after death? These questions have accompanied us for centuries, and different cultures and traditions offer diverse explanations about the fate of the soul. For many, the cemetery is a sacred place where one can feel closer to those who have passed. Visiting graves can bring comfort, serving as a moment of reflection and connection. However, some people find it difficult to go there, whether due to emotional reasons or personal beliefs. The doubt then arises: is it necessary to visit the cemetery to show love and respect for the deceased? Or are there other ways to keep that bond alive? The truth is that the soul is not confined to the place where the body was buried. The spirit continues its journey, and its presence can be felt anywhere. The love we have for those who have passed is not conditioned by a physical space, but by the feelings we carry within us. This means that even without visiting a cemetery, we can still honor and connect with our loved ones through thoughts, prayers, and memories. Many people report spiritual experiences that reinforce this idea. Some feel the presence of the deceased in unexpected moments, through subtle signs such as the appearance of an unusual animal, a song playing at just the right moment, or even inexplicable sensations of warmth and comfort. These signs are seen as manifestations of souls that continue to accompany their loved ones even after death. It is important to remember that the bond with those who have passed is not based on how frequently we visit their graves, but on the intensity of the love and memory we hold. Each person deals with longing in their own way, and there is no single or correct path to honor those who have gone. The essential thing is to find ways to maintain that connection in a sincere and meaningful manner. Grief is a profound and individual process. Some people find comfort in visiting the cemetery and lighting candles, while others prefer to express their feelings through prayers at home, mental conversations, or quiet moments of reflection. None of these approaches is wrong. What matters most is that the connection with those who have passed is maintained in a way that makes sense for each individual. There are accounts of people who, even without visiting the cemetery, feel the presence of their loved ones in everyday life. Whether in vivid dreams or through small events that seem imbued with meaning, these experiences reinforce the belief that the soul is not limited to a specific place. Many spiritual traditions teach that the energy of those who have passed remains close to those who loved them, regardless of location. The feeling of guilt may arise in those who are unable to visit the graves of their loved ones. However, it is essential to understand that love is not measured by physical actions, but by the sincerity of our feelings. The memory of those we love can be honored in countless ways, and each person must find the method that resonates most with their heart. Another important point is that grief should not be seen as a permanent burden. Those who have passed certainly wish for their loved ones to move on, find peace, and continue living joyfully. Grief is a process of adaptation, not an emotional prison. Keeping the memory of those who have gone alive is important, but it must be done in a healthy way so that it does not become an obstacle to moving forward. Believing that the soul continues to exist after death can bring solace to many. Knowing that those we love still accompany us in some way can ease the pain of separation. This understanding allows us to transform longing into a source of strength rather than a burden. Instead of focusing on physical absence, we can focus on spiritual presence, the happy moments shared, and the positive impact those people had on our lives. Therefore, if you feel that you cannot go to the cemetery, do not blame yourself. Your love and respect for those who have passed do not depend on a specific ritual. The true connection lies in the heart, in the thoughts, and in the affection we still nurture for them. Whether through a prayer, a memory, or even a simple thought of gratitude, you will be keeping that bond alive. If you have ever had an experience that made you feel the presence of a loved one who has passed, share it in the comments. We want to hear your opinion and your stories on this very important subject. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell to receive new notifications, and share this video with those who also need to hear this message. Love never dies, and the presence of those we love continues to live within us.